because of the money that you have to spend. You are leading edge creators and you are in a leading edge environment. And the manifestation of vibration into experiences and into material objects and into physical human life, that's what you came for. And nothing short of that is as much or really enough. You want that thought turning to things. That's why you're here in an environment where it can, where your physical senses can interpret vibration into visual and audio and sensory perception. It's such a good thing. So sometimes humans, especially those like you who are out on the leading edge, you struggle a little bit with the idea of, shouldn't I be more spiritual and shouldn't I be less material? And we want you to understand that the things that are spiritual and material are not different one from another, that what's manifesting here in the physical environment is spiritual too. So we just would like to put your mind at ease a little bit about that. But sometimes, as human, dear hearts, you get cross-purpose of your intent for being here. And so we want to help you today while we are visiting together to understand that more clearly, because you are a creator who came specifically into this physical body in order to use the power of your own consciousness in order to create. And we knew that the environment identify your preferences, and they matter so much. That contrast and variety, while it helps you to identify your preferences, causes you to launch rockets of desire, and sometimes you don't stay a vibrational match to the new desire, but instead you stay a vibrational match to the current situation that you are not preferring so much, that has caused you to give birth to the new and improved. So mostly what we talk about when we're together is how you can bridge that gap. Once you have done step one of the creative process, which is once life has caused you to ask for something beyond or different what you are living, then once that step one has been completed and Source does step two, in other words, all of the cooperative components begin to assemble right away around your object of desire, your new improved object of desire. But your work has to be what we are emphasizing as step three. You have to close that vibrational gap between what you've asked for and what you are currently perceiving. And you know, it comes down to something so simple that it's a little bit mind-blowing to so many humans when they realize really how simple it is. It really comes down to this. When you, in any moment in time, are feeling what you might call satisfied, then that's a very good indicator that you've closed that gap and that you are flowing with the new and improved, even though it hasn't manifested yet, because that takes a little while for those thoughts to turn to things. If you're feeling satisfied, then you're not in the way. You're not introducing any resistance. But if you are standing in an attitude of dissatisfaction, in other words, if you're complaining about what is, I wish it were different, I wish it wasn't like this, I wish it was like that, then you're in the not satisfied mode. You're in the dissatisfied mode. And in the dissatisfied mode, you're not closing that gap at all. Now, as humans, you want to explain to yourself and to others and to us why it's justified that you're dissatisfied. And we'll give you that. We know sometimes you're standing with not enough money or with too much of something you don't want. We get that. In other words, we know that sometimes your current bouncing off place isn't all that pleasant. But it is a bouncing off place, and that's the thing that we want you to realize. When you're standing where you don't want to be, you're bouncing off into something better. But most of you don't bounce so well. Your inner being takes the bounce. Your inner being says, all right, here we go. But if you're dissatisfied, then you don't go. And then your dissatisfaction is amplified because, now these are new words, hear them. Your dissatisfaction is amplified because your inner being took off where you pointed and you didn't go to. We have enjoyed this interaction immensely. We've enjoyed it so much. There just isn't anything else that you need to know, and that guy leaving the room knows it. Came, got it, got everything I came for. We're not making fun of him. You may all leave. We've got nothing beyond that. Don't go. We're going to have fun. So, creation is so delicious. It's what you have come for. You're creative geniuses, and you've come into this physical environment to create. But this is worth really understanding. This one very brief basis, and then we're going to throw it open to you. All of you isn't in this body. A part of your consciousness is, but a large part of you remains as non-physical consciousness. It's what you call soul or source. We call it your inner being. It goes like this. You were non-physically focused. A part of your consciousness came into this body, a magnificent part. You donned this personality. Now you're exploring this environment. You out here on the leading edge, just like you knew you would be. Life is causing you to identify through your perspective things that you want. You're launching these rockets of desire. When these rockets of desires emanate from you, that's leading edge thought, that's expansion of the universe. It's not just expansion of your bank account, or expansion of your life experience, or expansion of your satisfaction, or expansion of your eagerness. It's expansion of the universe. So you launch these rockets of desire, and as we said before, maybe you keep up and maybe you don't, and sometimes you do better on some subjects than others, but your inner being always receives the new idea from you, focuses completely upon the new becoming that you just accomplished because you just asked for something beyond what you are currently living. And your inner being becomes the vibrational, therefore, point of attraction, because the law of attraction is responding to your inner being. You hear that? Point of attraction, new point of attraction. Your inner being is now attracting differently than it was before because you lived contrast and asked for more. That's pretty easy to understand, isn't it? So your inner being is now attracting differently because law of attraction is responding to all of you, the non-physical you, who is in this vortex, in this vibrational reality, and the physical you. So as your inner being is now attracting, 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 you're going to feel the pull of that. And if you're inclined in this moment to feel sort of satisfied, then as your inner being attracts, you are comprehending it, which means you get to witness the unfolding of your creation. The ideas are flowing through you, you can feel it. Your timing is good, your rendezvousing is good. Everything feels so good to you. But if you're in the dissatisfied mode, then while this new attraction is going on with your inner being, you're feeling more miserable as you notice that, as you emotionally notice, as you feel sort of in your solar plexus, as you vibrationally interpret, you can sometimes feel that you're not up to speed and that doesn't feel so good to you. So the value that our teachings offer to you is that, first of all, we help you to understand that there are two aspects of you and they both matter. And that there are two aspects of you, non-physical and physical, and that we're all in this together. And that there are 2 points of attraction, and the better job you do through your satisfying thoughts, merging with your inner being so that you are one point of attraction, the less pulled apart you feel. And negative emotion is the sensation of you pulling yourself apart a little bit. I've asked for this, but in my dissatisfaction, I'm not allowing it. But my inner being isn't waiting for me. My inner being is off there attracting it. And if I don't go along, if I don't become a cooperative component to my own creation, I'm going to feel the tug of war going on inside of me. You got that, didn't you? We've enjoyed this interaction immensely. So what do you want to talk about? We're eager to talk with you about anything that matters right here. Yep, come on up.
Hello, thank you. I have 2 questions, both of them about closing the gap. So,
we want to hear you, but we want to play just a minute. Closing that gap is good. But a gap that isn't widening is good too. So kind of getting up to speed and then moving in a direction, that's not a bad way to live. See what we're getting at? Moving in opposition, not so good. Standing still while life causes your inner resources to move on, not so good. But just moving in the direction, that's good life.
So, how do you move towards satisfaction with your health and well-being while the time of your life, it leads you towards death? It's kind of opening the gap while you're trying to close it.
It requires a broader look. It requires a realization that there is no death, that it's open-ended, and that you will continue to be. And one of the great benefits of meditation and getting in sync with your inner being is that you come to realize the eternal nature of your being, which takes the sting out of the flawed premise that any part of you is coming to an end.
But you come to enjoy less and less what's happening to your body.
First of all, that's not necessary. It's not necessary to decline as you move through time. That's a byproduct of resistance.
So I guess that's my question. How?
How?
How do you not decline?
By finding more satisfaction in every moment. And by being willing to accept the decline as a flawed premise, even though there's so much circumstantial evidence of it all around you. To accept it as a flawed premise and then just find satisfaction more moments by more moments by more moments. Wouldn't you say, or would you say, we don't want to put words into your head. Yes, we do. Wouldn't you say that clarity is something that people commonly expect to lose as they move through time? There's a television commercial that comes on that shows your brain and says that your brain stops losing its connectivity as you move through time. And Esther always says, your brain. But my brain, I can stand over there and I can connect with connectivity. I can become more. And it doesn't matter, Esther gets older every day, you know it? And her ability to receive Abraham just gets better and better and better and better and better and better and better. And so in that way, she's defying the common logic that your brain functions are supposed to diminish. No, you can come to accept that relative to anything. Satisfaction is a state of mind, not a state of condition. And once you discover that, there was a man in the hot seat a few weeks ago who had invented a barbecue contraption. And he explained it, and he was very excited about it, but he was also worried about it. And we'd just begun really talking about satisfaction and not satisfaction. We've been talking about it forever, but in those specific terms. And so he was having a hard time following us because he was really worried about this thing taking off. And had invested quite a bit of time and money in it, and he wanted us to give him the magic formula. And we were talking to him, much as you've heard here today already, and he still couldn't quite hear it. And so we asked the audience, would being satisfied serve this person? And the entire audience said yes. And then we said, and does he have to be satisfied about the barbecue contraption? And the entire audience said no. He just has to find something to be satisfied about. And then everything else takes care of itself. So what happens with objective, logical humans is that you've come and sort of discovered yourselves to be problem solvers. Well, we don't want to call you problem solvers. We want to call you solution seekers. But if you decide you're a problem solver, then you're looking for problems and you're focused upon problems, and it slows you way, way down. That's what causes the gap not to close as fast as you'd like it to be closing. Something more?
Yes, people. While you're trying to close the gap, some of them trying to open it again. And that's...
It's a sort of common thing. At many levels of their being, they see you moving in the same way that you don't feel good when your inner being sort of keeps moving at your bequest without you. Your friends don't like it when you keep moving without them being able to keep up with you either. What everyone wants, whether it's a material object or a pile of money, what's behind all desire is a desire to feel better. So the better you feel, two things are accomplished. You help others realize that you can feel good, and maybe they might believe that they can too, but they might have a lot of flawed premises, like Esther thinking she'd cut the trees down, that keep them from accepting that they too can feel better.
So if everything else fails, you just end up sitting in a small room enjoying yourself.
At first, or a big room. But then what happens is, if that accomplishes what we know it will, and you get into the receiving mode, then you'll get an impulse. And if you follow the impulse, it'll be out there where others are, and it'll be such good timing that then you'll have a satisfying experience, not in a small room by yourself. And then, and only then, will any of this be meaningful, because right now it's just blah, 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 words from someone who apparently really believes what they're saying. Esther and Jerry had a friend. They used to meet with him pretty regularly. Brilliant man. He lived in an estate on the East Coast, and one night at dinner, they met once or twice a year when they would go to the Boston area. And one night, Esther said, well, you know, I believe that. And he said, I know you do, Esther. And it's his way of saying, I know you believe it, Esther, but I don't believe it, so give it a rest. That's really the message that he was getting. And Esther laughed so hard she spit her soup. Because she so got it that he didn't necessarily want her to drag him by the hair into her beliefs. But I believe that. I know you do, Esther. So you just have to find your own alignment and find your own happiness, and then watch what happens as a result of it. Because words don't teach, it's only life experience that teaches. And that's why you know so much that you know. We're just fine-tuning here. But the big thing that we're offering that will serve you so well is letting go of more conditions and being more unconditional, which means you just got to focus yourself into more alignment. And if you can accept that in every waking moment, you're offering a vibration, and law of attraction then is calling you to something because of that. And if you can accept, therefore, that you are always under the influence of something, and that when you are under the influence of your source energy, which really helps you deal with that death thing that there isn't any of, that you're under the influence of source energy, and that when you are under the influence of source energy, you're in the receiving mode, which opens you to everything.